Ooh. Oh, that was so close. Ooh, I wonder, oh my gosh. Oh man, hey guys, it's Mike Glover Actual for Combat Reacts, and we're kicking it off pretty hardcore with that initiation of the immediate action. Look, the guy ran across in his field of fire. That stuff happens in combat, man. I've seen it happen. I've lost a buddy in that. Afghan popped him back of a nugget, not on purpose. It was just part of war. When you're, especially on the initiation of contact, usually the most dangerous part of that combat is going to be the initiation, because that's when they're hitting you when you're most exploitable, when you're most vulnerable. So let's watch that again. Ooh. Oh. So you notice after that happened, he said out loud several times, "Is anybody hit? Is anybody hit?" Now you have to imagine immediately after that first shot breaks, some of these guys are in a sympathetic nervous response. Their cortisol and their adrenaline is jacked up. I wonder if he's calling that out to see if the guy that just went in front of him is potentially hit. Look, I'm not judging his tactics by any means, because he was reacting to contact appropriately, and that guy just darted in front of him. That happens. I mean, you can't, when reacting to contact, especially when the open, the best thing you could do to help your situation, to gain the tactical advantage, is react to contact with fire. That means suppression. He doesn't have a clear, unobstructed view of the target, but getting rounds in the direction of where the enemy fire is coming from, which it definitely is coming from that direction, is the best thing you can do. And man, that happened really fast. So M68. Oh, no, he's got an ACOG on his gun.
Are you okay?
All right, so he's got a thumper. He's standing out in the open. Putting sights up. All of his guys are on the ground. 40 Mike into the wood line there. That's a good tactic. He needs to suppress. I wish these guys that were with him were getting more suppressive fire in the direction of the enemy. There's a lot of opportunity to lull your fire, but in this situation, I want them to get a massive amount of fire in the direction of those enemy combatants, because we don't understand the disposition and composition of the force. So they could be maneuvering on you. So you want to get overwhelming fire superiority in this situation, and it just doesn't look like they have that, but he's getting on it with a thumper. Look, something about this guy, his movement, the lateral movement, that's a good thing. What you want to see is constant advantageous lateral movement, never holding in a static position, especially if he's up and exposed to the enemy. Now, in this particular case, he could be behind that low wall with his guys, but that would put him at a disadvantage with getting this weapon system in the fight. So the fact that he's moving back and forth, I will tell you from experience, because I know these kind of guys. It was me at some point in my career. This guy's experienced. He understands how to war fight. He's been there before. He's communicating, he's shooting, and he's moving. That's all the principles that we need, especially as we kick off. Very technically proficient as well.
Fire! Get some rounds on there!
Yeah, I like that diagram. Enemy location, like everywhere here. Even telling his guy to get covering fire and to put his weapon system up like that so he can gain the advantage and then switch him back and forth, he's in it. Here, before we get quick to judge, because I know a lot of guys are probably honing in to the fact that some of these guys have their head in the dirt, I hear communications taking place. I think one of these guys is either the commander or an RTO or both. Those two guys on the ground with their heads in the ground could be either a leadership, it could be a platoon sergeant, it could be a lieutenant or a platoon leader. But if their heads are down like that, you could hear the commo taking place. Strategically and tactically, that communication is your lifeline. It's almost just as important as getting a gun in the fight, because if other elements that are around you don't understand what's taking place, and can't provide the support to get you or to lull that gunfight and potentially gain the overwhelming advantage, then it's just as important as the actual rounds downrange. Ooh, you can hear some snaps and cracks. That's receiving fire. There's the, it sounds like a saw. Might be a 240.
Yeah, they're just regular ground, so we got some over here. Fuck, I'm getting fucking stung by fucking bees.
So one of the things that I don't like seeing, and I train this at fieldcraftsurvival.com when we're doing training in person, my instructors teach us as well. Remember, when you're hiding behind cover, you are taking yourself out of the fight. There is a time and place. There's a time and place to like get behind cover because you're taking rounds on your position, but you're giving up the tactical advantage to not be able to identify where the enemy is. The perfect way to put the enemy's head down and flank and maneuver is by suppressing them and then getting up and bounding on them. What I always get scared of when I see this, when I see soldiers' heads down behind cover, is, man, they are giving themselves up from observation, which might put them at a tactical disadvantage. You need the good combination of both depending on where you're at in the line of fire. I don't know if I'd leave my rifle behind in a certain position. This guy is better off slinging it, but I'm assuming he doesn't have a sling or something weird's going on with that setup.
We got that. Where's the A&A at? He's right here.
So he's running an ACOG.
That fucking wall? With a 30? Nope.
You can hear his heavy breathing. He's calming down a little bit. But he's working. He's constantly working. I'm going to say that this guy is probably a squad leader based on how he controlled his teams.
A&A shot the head behind us. All right, I'm tossing the flag out front. Tell me when you're ready to throw. All right. I'll give you a couple shots. Everybody ready? Yeah. Remember right behind.
Okay, real quick, fragmentation. I've been in gunfights throwing frags within frag distance of bad guys. I've been in a few instances of that. And when you're in that close of a proximity, things get crazy. That M67 fragmentation grenade he has a thumb latch that is recommended to be on, as well as the safety pin with a 5-second delay. That's enough time for him to lull. When he grabs that, what you want to see is him grab it with his dominant hand, pull the pin with his non-dominant hand, which would be his left hand in this case, and toss that grenade with that 5-second delay, announcing frag out, which means he just deployed a frag so everybody can get down. I've seen guys in combat, in firefights, next to them get hit with fragmentation from these grenades. Good tactic, especially in brush and palm groves where you can't see the enemy. I've been in this same situation at night, and it's not fun.
We're going to move back to those rooms over there. All right, everybody ready? Cover the fire! Back out! Let's move! Back out! Let's go! Reloading! A&A, right over there! No, I don't think so. Some bushes with them. Hey, push into those ruins. Get some cover from those ruins. I'll cover you. Ready? Go!
Well, that's a tough one. What I will say is, man, it's hard to communicate your intent as a leader in small unit tactical maneuvering when you're just screaming it. A lot of guys, they're worked up, they're behind cover, they're comfortable. There needs to be communication over the radio. Maybe he communicated that over his radio, depending on what kind of comms he was running. But I want to see him not just scream out the intent and then just go to shooting. You need to be able to create a tactical, situationally aware environment where people are actually physically moving. It sounds like he's just screaming commands and things aren't taking place that he intends to do. And also, just that movement alone makes me think this guy might be the platoon sergeant. He might be a bigger leader of a bigger element based on him giving those instructions and taking charge. All right, looks like these guys are flanking and maneuvering. Classic FM7-8.
I'm pushing across.
They got good cover and concealment. They got good advantage. You can see that defilator right there, that depression. They're in a saddle. They have the tactical advantage. Looks like they're breaking contact to maneuver. Oh, he had a double feed. Good. Holding the BCG to the rear. Letting the bolt go forward. Let's see if he worked that well. He should be back on the gun. If he fixes it again, he didn't work it well.
We've only got that one. He's right there. He can walk. Hell yeah. Hey, sir. I need to take that A&A and push back. We can cover up here. Oh, son of a bitch.
It looks like somebody's injured down there.
Your bag?
They got a good overwatch position. They need to be focused on the fight, though. This guy, so he's kind of, I wanted to see him come down from that. Like, there's an elevation when that cortisol pumps into your system. That's that mobility tactic that we talk about to help elevate performance. I want to see him start getting calm. Calm breeds calm actions, right? If I'm communicating to my guys and they have an instilling confidence based on the voice that I'm communicating with them, they hear that. And that will drive them to calm down and to be cognitive of the circumstance. If I'm yelling and I'm panicked, sometimes that's necessary, especially when communicating over fire, but that's what radios are for. So again, this is me micro-analyzing it as a Special Forces Sergeant Major, somebody who's been in these gunfights a lot before. But all in all, these guys are demonstrating to me they know what they're doing. They have sound tactics and TTPs. A lot of the things that I see them doing are company and platoon and squad and team SOPs. You have FM7-8. It's Googleable. You guys could find that online. But a lot of these internal standard operating procedures that you see are based on the experiences of the men in them. They might flex, maneuver, and adapt to the situation based on their training. That's always a good thing. That's kind of I won't say classified because it's all open source. I'm not telling anybody anything that's classified, but that's their internal mechanism for their own successes based on their own capability. Guys, Combat Reacts, Afghanistan helmet cam footage. Don't know how this kind of works out, but I know that it was a fight against Taliban in an ambush. Remember, the old tactic in ambushes in Vietnam was run at the enemy and try to penetrate the enemy line. That's not always necessary. I remember when guys just tell me that until I get ambushed in Afghanistan, and I'm like, that didn't work. That wouldn't have worked. It probably would have just got me killed. Good analysis on this. Great video. Good job to the team that was involved in this. Combat Reacts. Leave your comments below. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. 30% of our subscribers subscribe. 70% who watch the videos aren't subscribed. Make sure you hit that little bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time on Combat Reacts. Later, guys.